Hey, what's going on, everybody? I see that Bobby started the chat.
I'm here. How's it going, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, I'm ready for this. I decided to just because it worked and because my limited history of max entering has been very positive. I'm doing it again. For the the smaller the lottery ones and all that. And what's interesting that I came up with is in my original build on DraftKings, my player pool was basically the same size that it was last night on the 2-gamer, which is kind of interesting. Wow. So I kind of like that. You know what I mean? Harness in on the things you like. There's a few things that I've got some notes on to get more and less of. I posted all of my early plays in the my early builds and my early exposures after I did my thing in the premium channel, and happy to go through it with you.
Well, I mean, you are you I keep forgetting. Do you do yoga and stuff like that or no?
I do a lot of working out. I do yoga, but I haven't been doing it in the last year, realistically.
No meditation or anything like that. Meditation. Yeah, so I just wonder what you need some good techniques to prepare for NBA. Because right now, listen, the projections are updated, ready to build lineups maybe, and I'm just like preparing for the inevitable. The as soon as my lineups are built for Obi Toppin not starting or
he's not. I don't think he's not supposed to start.
No, whatever, but you know what I mean. Or
yeah. He may be supposed to start. It wouldn't affect me. Is all I was going to say.
No, but you know what I'm saying. So you got to be prepared for everything.
The big one is Luka, who is officially questionable, which is no different. But I started to sort of thought as the day went on, they would just announce him in early because it's like the first game and everything. That's the one that's got me. But what you do then is pretty simple, and you probably want to do a 2v2 and not leave 800 on the table. But maybe playing Kyrie is not the worst idea if you're not playing Luka, right? Like
just but just be on the lookout for that. Serenity now, because don't get mad. Nobody's allowed to get mad.
Yep.
And then also, just for you guys to know about how the NBA works, like if you play Obi Toppin or you play somebody, and after the first quarter you have like 4 fantasy points, don't spam Twitter, don't spam Discord. You know what I mean? It's a long game. Everybody just relax.
Absolutely.
It's not a big deal.
The old Donovan Mitchell on the Jazz rule. Don't worry about what Donovan Mitchell has at halftime. If he's got 15 at halftime, he probably still ends up with. If they're down by 10, he probably still ends up with 55.
And who's that center? Not DeAndre Jordan, but the other guy. Somebody likes DeAndre Jordan. Andre Drummond. That was the other one.
Oh yeah, Drummond especially because he doesn't. Yeah, you get the 0 in the first half and the 30 in the second half.
Yeah, I just want to just start with something completely off base. I am going to be putting out the Yahoo projections as long as they're continue to offer even 5 figures for first. I'm going to put those out. But if Yahoo disappears, I'm going to stop doing it. Just if anybody does play Yahoo, and this is going to be no surprise because he's going to be like 70% on there. But they made Cade Cunningham the absolute stone minimum over there, just by accident. Yeah,
that's a lot. That's not even.
He's $10. His projected ownership is 72.73%. It's probably too low.
Yeah.
But yes, I figured I would bring that up in case anybody wanted to go do that.
Well, that's awesome that you threw that out because I didn't look at anything on Yahoo as usual, and that's a
the only reason I did it is because I did the sheets and I opened them all and I see this like right at the top of my thing. Like, whoa, I've never seen anything like this before. So I think this might be the best salary in the history of the NBA. Maybe it could be. I don't know.
It's right. Well, Yahoo's done some other weird ones. I remember some crazy ones with football where there was like a week when Julio Jones was Julio Jones, where he ended up somehow in there. That was like, but I don't remember it for basketball being that extreme. What I do want to say though, really quick, just because he's showing up for me, and I'm still going to keep him probably like 5 to 7%. But LaMelo is supposedly on a minutes limit tonight.
Oh my!
But I don't have official word on that. I don't have official word on the exact number of minutes. And we've heard this before with LaMelo, and there's been games where we've heard it where he's played like 40 minutes. So I am not going to eliminate LaMelo is the answer. I will have a little less of him than I was going to, but that's pretty much it. 5 to 7%.
Who are those? Who's the coach who was saying he's going to be on a strict minutes limit and he played 41?
I know, man. It's so ridiculous. Some of these guys. It's like
it was strict. I promise I would not play him over 44 minutes. That was.
So Joanne's asking a question, and we're gonna get into this. the thing I have an issue with my early builds, because I liked them, they fit, they were nice, there was correlation, it was a beautiful like feeling thing, and then I look back and I'm going, isn't every center, like as you mentioned to start off our whole thing, just mispriced on DraftKings?
Yes.
Shouldn't we mostly be playing double center lineups?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I feel too, and I'm gonna have to make some adjustments because you've got like, I mean, of the top like 40 projected players, like 14 of them are centers.
I think there's also a corollary to that there's so many good centers that I don't think you should fall on the highest owned of them all, you know?
Sure. But you could fall on the highest owned with, Xavier Tillman, who's a great play at 5K that people aren't going to play. You know what I mean?
True.
So I think you can fall on them if that ends up. There are some huge pieces of chalk that I think are somewhat volatile, and unfortunately, they're also my highest owned players in my max builds. A little lower on them in the big ones, but like Jaren Jackson Jr. is a tremendous play just on paper. The problem is, what are they going to do to guard Zion? If they put Jaren Jackson Jr. on Zion, Jaren Jackson Jr. will have 2 fouls in the first 5 minutes of the game, and he will be on the bench for a while. If they don't, and they want to bring Roddy off the bench, or let's say Jaren Jr. picks up a foul, or they put somebody else on, I don't even know how else, like they put Tillman on him, I guess. I don't love that either for them. So it gets a little bit hairy with things like that with the Jaren Jackson. I just want to point it out because it's going to be massive chalk. I still am playing Jaren Jackson Jr. If you look on SaberSim, you try and do a build, they're going to try and give you more Jaren Jackson Jr. than just about anybody other than Obi Toppin. But I'm just going to say there is a bust path because of foul trouble there, especially going up against a guy like Zion. So what I'm doing to offset a little bit of that, and it's really not the right kind of guy you're supposed to play in general, but it's worth speculating this early in the season that a guy like David Roddy would come in for them and play, let's say, 28 minutes. It's possible that as a guy projected for 15, 16 minutes could easily play 28, and because he matches up better specifically with Zion.
David Roddy.
So he's the get weird. He's a little bit of a get weird play, but one that I like. And there's a couple others that I wanted to mention before I get into all the main plays. I think Kevin Love is going to be completely unowned on this slate. If you would have said last year at 4,100 early in the year that Kevin Love was going to be unowned and he was going to play 20 plus minutes, Kevin Love was like the easiest play of all time. He's going to put up 30 fantasy points if he plays over 20 minutes. That's just always what he does. It kind of dwindled. He's getting older and all that stuff, and they're playing Detroit, so maybe it's not the right spot. But he's 4,100 and 3,900 between both sites. Assuming that he does start like he's projected to right now, that's an interesting play that I didn't get to that I'm trying to get some of. And then I also think that Bam and my other note to myself is make sure to get more Bulls in. Really, really like the idea of on DraftKings dividing up Levine. And you can play them together if you want to. I just personally like the dividing them up better. But the Levine, Vooch, and DeRozan, when I was hand building, I found myself sort of forcing at least one of those guys into most of my builds.
Well, that's the other thing I was thinking about on the walk back home today is whether what I was going to do about making rules in NBA in general. Because, I use SaberSim, and SaberSim allegedly kind of factors all that stuff in, but I'm just not convinced. You know what I mean? And so I wonder if I'm supposed to do stuff like, well, because here's the thing. I haven't really done like a sanity check on like SaberSim builds yet because we just started the season. But I remember last year, listen, I'm a big fan of theirs, and maybe they fixed this, but they were getting a lot of lineups, I have to say, that weren't making any sense to me, like double centers from the same team, and it's far be it from me to say that their algorithm didn't come up with it because I can't see like the raw data, but I just know that it just wasn't the right thing to do. So I'm just curious to see what happens when these, listen, everybody's all into the automation and the simulation data and running the game sims or whatever. And I just want to make sure that these lineups pass the sanity, the sanity test. So I'm wondering if I'm supposed to make rules like that along the way. I'm probably not going to start, but if I start seeing like lineups that kind of like, when I have like, I don't know, like 4 guys from the same team on a 13-game slate, they're all going to be shooters. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like just stuff that just doesn't make any sense to me. I might have to change my mind.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Yeah. So what are you, who are you finding yourself the most heavy on, whether you want to talk about overweight or just your highest owned guys today?
Okay, so just again, as far as pure transparency, I'm just telling you exactly what I'm doing. So in order, the first thing I did was I updated my projections to 6 o'clock. Okay. The next thing I did was I built my Yahoo lineups. So I'm just going to tell you what I did. So in my Yahoo lineups, and I'm playing 30 lineups, I'm getting 100% Cade Cunningham, as I mentioned, and then like 85% Desmond Bain, and then my big pivot is 75%. I'm getting Julius Randle. Now the next thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to run the DraftKings lineups first. Now I'm playing one lineup in the 180 in the 888 because I want to see. I probably play it anyway, but one in the 888. I'm playing a couple of those single entries, and I'm also playing 3 box outs, and I'm playing 50 in the 150 max. But before I even run them, I'm just kind of like looking what I think I would want to play, right? So I imagine, I'm still looking. Jaren Jackson is still looking like a good play, but with ownership. Now to your point, by the way, about what to do with Jaren Jackson as chalk, I think that the again, I have to remember that NBA is a little more predictable than other sports, but from what I remember about DFS, what you told me a while ago, is that when you have guys with variance, they're good plays to have when they're low owned and bad plays to have when they're chalk.
Right.
So in the truest sense, I'd much prefer like Evan Mobley than Jaren Jackson Jr.
Mm-hmm.
At the same ownership, the same price, the same position, the same whatever. So if I was going to fade one of them, I would probably fade the Jaren Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
That's my answer there.
I'm more on the Mobley side myself. Maybe not in terms of actual draft percentage, but definitely in entry fees, it's about double Mobley than it is Jackson for me.
What are you playing today?
So I'm playing quite a bit today. I'm playing 3 in the 888. I'm playing
Nice.
3 in the 555. When they put out the huge prize pools, I kind of want to pounce on these situations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm playing a little bigger, and also, people, you get the more people back in and all that stuff when you have a win and all that.
Well, the other thing also, by the way, I may as well tout this is if you guys wanted to play if you guys wanted a piece of Bobby or me or whatever, like we both put our stuff on State Kings.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, you're a little liar here because it says
I have 4, but I didn't get the 4th one in time.
Oh, I don't know. What do you mean? It looks like it's there. Oh, okay.
It's sold out.
There's still $1,044 left on this thing.
Yeah. So, and you're actually, it's going to be less than that for you because it's only going to be 3 entries. So,
we're going in for a big $48.48 in that one.
Okay, let's do it.
We're in that. I can't. Oh, this is so funny. I can't.
You've been winning.
Exactly. That's right. I don't have any money.
That's what happens.
I have to. I sent the money, and then I didn't send them enough. Apparently, crap. Yeah. So, oh my God. Now you're a stone lock. Absolute stone lock.
It's kind of tilting because I wanted to get your action, and I can't get any of that because of last night. So
right. Oh, brutal.
What are you gonna do?
But then again, so everybody else, you can go. Bobby, he still has 30. He's got a good amount left in the. Listen, Bobby, the big MME king now. He's got a good portion left in the in the lottery. He's got some left in the 888 or whatever it is. Yeah, and so you guys can continue to do that. Well, one of these days, isn't there like a deal for like PXF? Not PXF. Listen, what I'm doing. DFS people. As far as the stake, or do we have to set it up that way?
We're setting up something. We'll work on that one a little later. I don't have that right. We don't have that set up quite yet.
So I'm just gonna run a build right now and let you guys know what I come up with. The other thing is I wish I had set this up beforehand. Tonight would be a freaking good night to go live because like the first night.
Yeah, unfortunately, like the problem was for me, I made these plans before anything, and I.
You going out? You have plans tonight? Okay.
Yeah, I do tonight. I was gonna ping you and say, hey, if you don't do it, I'm gonna do it. But then my girlfriend's coming into town, said I haven't seen her in a couple weeks, so kind of have to. I'll be by my computer at least, so I can make my shifting, and then I'll be in the Discord. But I can't. I don't know if I can do the live thing. And
listen, I put this on what I tell my son. Rule number 1: keep the ladies happy.
That's right.
And rule two, if you're thinking of not keeping the ladies happy, see rule 1.
See rule 1, right?
That's pretty much all you need to know about being a nice young man in 2023.
That's right. But I want to touch on Joanne's question. Yes, it's completely fine to play Bain and Jackson in the same lineup. 100%. No issue with it whatsoever.
Bain and Jackson.
Yeah, I like Bain more than Jackson for what it's worth today on DraftKings. And I wanted to touch on a couple of things we talked about earlier. And I know not everybody was there for the earlier show, but we talked a lot about Wembanyama. Now, Wembanyama is a significantly better play on FanDuel. One, it suits his scoring. This guy could literally, I mean, we're going to see a lot of blocks out of this guy. And we're going to see steals also. He's just got the 2 long arms. He's got the 8'6", 8'9", whatever the hell it is, the wingspan, the reach, combined with a 7'4" frame. And he's playing on the perimeter and down low. He's going to be a great FanDuel player. And he's also going to be pretty popular over there. FanDuel really did a nice job making it tough pricing-wise. Not a lot of guys projecting more than 5.5x, you know what I mean? So I like him over there, and I wanted to add that I like Chet Holmgren better over there. I also ended up with some Zaire Williams because there aren't as many value savers, a lot more Zaire Williams than I was planning because he's 3,800. He'll be starting for Memphis. Here he is in year 3, and we'll see how that goes for him. But I'm playing a lot more of these young guys a little bit more speculatively. I'm also starting Derek Lively at center and some lineups at 4,700, just because I wanted to get different with my builds. And I think I accomplished that. Whether they're good builds or not remains to be seen, but I certainly accomplished what I was going for with the spending up on the Tyrese Halliburtons, the Lukas. Luka's going to be criminally underowned. And I think that, especially over there, I think that if we don't hear news from that Luka, we could see Luka like on this kind of slate with the value we have, with everything, Luka should be like 40% owned. And he's not going to be.
On FanDuel, you're saying?
I think on both sites, because he's the only natural spend up you have. You know what I mean? Everybody else you can do. And look, I'm fine with middling builds. You know what I mean? But Luka's projected 10 points higher than everybody else. And who's, is Sabonis or Trae Young? They're not going to threaten him that often. I actually think Tyrese is probably going to be the second highest scoring player in the slate. But I think you should get some Luka. I think you should get some Jason Tatum. I think, and you know what I mean? Like, this is if you're multi-entering, but Luka either way, even if you're not multi-entering, I still have him as a core play because I don't think it's right for him to be less than 40% owned on this slate, assuming that he plays, in my opinion. Also, you have great run backs because you've got Sohan on the other side. You could play Wembanyama on the other side. I like Devin Vassell quite a bit on the other side. And that's what I sort of did. I made little mini stacks of 4 or 5 mans, and those were my builds and my high buy-ins. And they're of one of them is that game. One of them is the Washington Indiana game. And I was going to do more with Atlanta Charlotte, but I didn't end up doing it. I ended up with, again, I have the Bulls in every other thing. And the other one that I flirted with a little bit and played on FanDuel was the Memphis New Orleans game, because Memphis naturally builds itself, and then people aren't going to play the guys from New Orleans much. So that's what I did.
In my first run here on DraftKings, and I'm playing 50. I'm getting a solid 25% Luka, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm showing his ownership at 14%. I'm kind of with you and think he's just going to be higher. But I don't know. I mean, we're going to see. And that's one thing I'm going to track this year again. Is the projected ownership versus the end. But the thing about the NBA, everybody remember, is that the ownership at the end can be different than the ownership when the slate locks because of the different changes and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just I thought it'd be really good just to really quickly go through some of the exposures where I'm at, just because from buy-ins alone, the highest owned guy I have is Obi Toppin. It's just because of the price on DraftKings. I think he's actually a clever play on FanDuel because he'll be much lower owned over there at 5,100. So when I set my max entry builds, I went way over on Obi Toppin at 5,100 on FanDuel, just because I figured everybody will play him on DraftKings and won't play him on FanDuel as much. I have Evan Mobley as my second highest owned player. Desmond Bane is my third highest owned. Tyus Jones is my fourth highest owned. Sohan is my fifth. Jaren Jackson is my sixth. I'm probably going to get a little bit less of that. Then we get Talen Horton-Tucker and Tyrese Halliburton. Right behind them, Şengün and Luka. I'm also very high on the Jordan Poole thing tonight. I think there's, like, if I was doing prop bets, I think Jordan Poole scoring over 30 real life points is like, I would take it. I think it happens like 80% of the time here. I really do. He'd have to be like ice cold. He could get ice cold. We've seen that before from him, but I think he has a monster upside game against Indiana. I do worry about them keeping games close in general, but I really like that Jordan Poole play on both sites, especially DraftKings.
What I might do. See, that's like a rule that I might make sure to. I mean, I don't know if I'd play like Jordan Poole and the same as like Kyle Kuzma or something like that.
Yeah. Sheets, here, answer this one. We got a question on TJ from TJ Gaming. Thoughts on the Heat stack? My thoughts are, I'll say my thoughts, and then you say you do your thing. Absolutely no chance in hell. I will play Tyler Hero some. I will get some love mixed in. I will get some ban. I have no interest in stacking up the Heat against Detroit. None. Any interest for you?
No.
Okay. And then you know,
definitely not.
Yeah, why not? Why would we do it? It would probably be one of the worst stacks, in my opinion, that you could make today. I don't see a whole lot that I like less. Even the Clippers, I would prefer. I do also want to point out that I really like Russ. I think that let's just look at it. Okay, Russ is 6,500. So he averaged 37 fantasy points with the Lakers as a six-man, pretty much. You know what I mean? Or the third guy. So even at his like median, that's okay. You know, that's solid. Now you're going up against the future Russ, and you got the Portland Trailblazers who don't play defense and can't guard any guards, and their guards are all rookie. I'm telling you, I just think that Russ is an interesting 6,500 play that people aren't really going to go too much. That I think has an excellent shot at 50 plus fantasy points. So I wanted to throw out. We didn't like the Clipper game initially. If you want a late night hammer, think about using some Russ. Who are people talking about? I think people have got to remember this is a full 12 gamer. This is not a tiny little slate. Olivier Sarr, I mean, is he even going to play a minute? I have to look at this real quickly because I am totally confused by this question. I've seen a lot of these things out here today. I have Olivier Sarr projected to play 2 minutes. There is a 0.0% chance.
He might have a good usage rate for 2 minutes, though. He might be able to.
Can he get there? Can he get there in 2?
Be able to get there. I don't know.
Yeah, I really feel good when people ask questions like that because it makes me feel like other people are leading things down the wrong path. I don't know what people are looking at to get that. Maybe it's like a game log watch from last year without Chet Holmgren, who's their starting center now. And look, maybe Olivier Sarr plays tonight and he has a great game and puts up 25 fantasy points. I'm not going to play a guy with just random speculation for no reason tonight. If they end up starting him, yeah, you can have a different conversation. I don't know how that would happen. And even still, who is he going to play over? Like, I just don't see it happening with Holmgren there.
Okay, so in some of these, I am getting to these double center builds on DraftKings. I want to talk to you about a pivot, because Miles Turner's going to get owned. I have Sengun already, but here's a guy that you kind of invented, I guess. But how about going back to our old friend, like maybe a low-owned Jakob Poeltl?
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. You're in the team with double big, so the minutes feel very secure. He played well for his former and then again team. I think it's fine. I think it's a good play. I prefer Xavier Tillman at a cheaper price, but I have no problem with that play. And I feel like I can say that about, look, Poeltl, Claxton, all those guys are totally fine. I just didn't get to them as much because I like some other stuff better. I played Mark Williams, you know what I mean? I want to play. I'm more siding towards the young guys with the massive upside than the older guys who we kind of know what they are. Yeah, they could have a game and stuff. I mean, you could also say with Poeltl in this category, Valanciunas would probably be preferred to me over Poeltl, and he's 200 more.
I don't have the 200.
I like that. I think it's totally fine if you end up with them, but again, you could make the same comment about Claxton.
Right.
I just throw that out there, and I personally like Tillman a little better. So Yannick Rodriguez is asking a question here. 6,400 left. He wants to know Mobley or Wagner. So I am big on this Franz Wagner. I'm going to be playing him consistently, even if he fails until he's 7+K. Period. But there is no question that Mobley is the clear answer. The only question is if the rest of your lineup is showing up with all guys who are like 35% owned, then maybe you make a play with Wagner over Mobley. I don't think you should be trying to play Wagner over Mobley. It's not the right thing to do, but I think Franz Wagner has a lot of upside. I'll just say that.
No, so I have some answers for this. So as usual, like these questions, it's really important to know like what type. No, it's first of all what type of contest you're in. Okay, to answer a question like that. Second thing you want to know is what the rest of your lineup looks like, and I know some people don't want to hear. Yeah, I know, but it's really important. Okay, and because there are situations honestly where Wagner would be a much better play. You know what I mean? If you needed to juice it up in the lottery or something like that, I would definitely play him. But if the rest of your lineup is chalky, you're trying to beat 100,000, and you're not sure. If the rest of your lineup is really low owned and you just want some safety, then you don't play Wagner. So it's that's what people. I don't want to say what people don't understand because people do, but they really underestimate the power of lineup construction and how certain players should fit into certain builds and not others. Anyway, that was probably a little bit too.
No. I think it's completely accurate. I totally agree with that. Guys, we'll probably be around just for another 5 minutes or so because I'll only be around for 5 because I need to finish my builds and it's just a big day. But pop everything in there, and I remind everybody, tag me in Discord if you have questions before each lock thing, and if you want my opinion, or just go back and forth because I will be in the premium Discord for NBA. A lot of the action that happens during NBA season happens after lock, so just make sure you're in there. So,
the other thing I'm going to do is I'm running my the FanDuel build. I'll let you know what I'm doing there, and then what I'll do for everybody again is I'll do the live lineup build of my big one on FanDuel and see what I want to do there because I haven't even looked at it yet. Again, I've been working on the projections, working on the MME stuff, and then we'll try to put this in. So right now I'm running the contest sims on the FanDuel. I'm playing the 150 there, just firing it. You know what I mean? What's it, $5? See what I can dream up there. Now you mentioned Chet Holmgren is better on FanDuel.
Yeah, so I actually like Chet Holmgren. It's a speculative play a little bit. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not playing him over Mobley, but I'm playing him with Mobley. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my top rated lineup, by the way, before I do any of the tweaking, actually has both of them, Mobley and Chet.
Nice.
And it's got also a guy in it who he always seems to be a play on FanDuel, but never on DraftKings. Is Markelle Fultz actually?
Yeah, I'm going to point out why that is. Okay. There's a reason for this. You know what I mean?
Because he can't make a three.
No, because he doesn't get steals and he doesn't get blocks and he turns the ball over. So his correlation to FanDuel statistics are not nearly as good. You want the low turnover.
Oh no, but I'm saying, but I come up. No, I see him. I'm getting to him on FanDuel.
Right? No, he always looks like a good play.
Oh, okay.
And his ceiling is somewhat capped for FanDuel scoring. You know what I mean? And the reason he stays cheaper is because his median scoring average is higher on DraftKings by a significant amount than it is on FanDuel. Whereas a guy like Jalen Suggs, probably a better FanDuel play.
He's in the same lineup.
Yeah, and I worry a little bit about that. You know what I mean? Not a ton, but a little bit about that. They're both starting officially, so we have that at least. But these are the kind of things you think about. And in FanDuel, you want to play the Wembanyamas, you want to play the Miles Turners in general. You want to even overpay for some of these guys. And right now they made Wembanyama cheaper. I have a feeling he's going to be very high owned on FanDuel and completely ignored on DraftKings.
Could be.
So I am going to force him. He's right now in one of my 888s on DraftKings, just for transparency. I think it's a little thin, but I am willing to gamble on this kid because would it surprise me if he put up 60 fantasy points in 30 minutes? Not even a little bit. Plus, he has a 3-point upside. You don't get very often the guy who's the best shot blocker in the NBA with a solid chance to hit 3 or 4 threes in the same thing. All right, I should probably get going soon, guys. Pop in any QQs. I'm happy to stay for a few more minutes because I don't have a whole lot more that I'm going to decide on unless we hear something about Luka. It really is annoying to make him a game time decision in one of the last games of the day. I'm just kind of irritated by that. You don't really have you're only out as Kyrie Irving. You know what I mean? There's not because you're not going to have a ton of other guys from that game. You'll have some Sohan, but who do you pivot from Kyrie down to and then up to? Just a little weird, I guess you could I guess instead of Sohan and Luka, if you left a few hundred extra on the table, you could switch over to Kyrie and Westbrook if you use your positions correctly. Actually, the Kyrie Westbrook doesn't sound so horrible in the first place. The other guy who I'm going to force in right after we get off of here is Kristaps Porzingis.
Okay. It's
just a one that no one's playing. He got the forward eligibility, so that makes him not a center, which makes it much better. And you can, going back to New York, first game with the Celts, I think they get him involved. I think they look for him early. And just, don't be surprised if you look up at the end of the first quarter and Kristaps has like 25 fantasy points. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, too thin at 4,300, the question from James. No, it's not too thin. Yes, it's very speculative. I prefer just playing him on DraftKings at the 3K, but I do have a tiny bit of him in the giant, lottery over there.
Well, let me, if you want to go, it's fine. I'm going to share my screen and see if I could build something for the FanDuel, see what it is. So I'll share my screen and I'll end it if you want.
All right. Good. All right. Good luck, everybody. And I'll just put mine on mute and all that stuff. Good luck, Sheets. Have a good night.
All right. So this is FanDuel, and it might answer some of the questions about someone had earlier about how to use the sheets to kind of hand build here. So let's just do this. So here are the sheets, and I'm going to just sort everything by sheets value score for now. And what you're looking for when you hand build is two things. When you rate them this way by sheets value score, you're looking for the lowest price guys that are near the top of this list, because sheets value score tends to give a bias towards the higher price guys. So if you can get lower price guys near the top of this list, that's really strong. Or if you sort by point per dollar, then you're looking for the opposite. You're looking for the highest price guys that have good point per dollar rankings, because again, point per dollar rankings usually tend to bias the cheapos. So when I sort these both ways, guys that you're seeing are Tyus Jones and Evan Mobley in both spots. So let's put those guys in first. So we'll put in Tyus Jones and Evan Mobley to start off with. Okay. And let's just keep on trying to do it this way. So it's 6,700 per man. So again, let's see who else can kind of, fit this bill. So we're look at these. So Jones, Mobley, Tucker, Schroeder, Tillman, Bain. Desmond Bain looks really good, right? Because he's high priced, but rated high as points per dollar. And Desmond Bain looks here. So we don't know exactly where to play him, whether it's shooting guard or small forward. So for now, we'll put him at shooting guard, just because. And we might change that. Now, the other thing is that, again, we have to keep an eye on how many of each player we have or whatever. And I'm already thinking about, tie breaks. If I can get away with playing an Indiana guy, I'll do it, because I'll get a run back there. If I can get a Brooklyn guy, I'll do it. If I can get a New Orleans guy, I'll do it. So the good thing is you can see that this is you're not going to have a lot of problem with salary here. So let's see what else we kind of come up with. Again, so we're rating these by sheets value score. So who's low priced here? So there was Bain, there was Mobley, there was Tyus Jones, and then you have either Bam at center or Paolo Banchero. And what's interesting to me is that this is the first one that we come up with here that is low owned. You see, you have an $8,100 guy who's rating near. He's one of the cheaper guys near the top of this, and there's Banchero, but you see Bam at 6% ownership. See, to me, that actually means something. So just for fun, let's put him in, and if you do that, then honestly, you can build however else you want without respect to ownership. You're taking this one shot at a position which is usually, it's kind of tough to take a shot there because there are a lot of good plays. But he does rate well enough to make that viable. And then you could play something like, okay, so here I mentioned that Brandon Ingram. I was looking for an excuse to play someone on New Orleans, and he's 9% owned. So let's put him in. So we'll put Ingram, and we just kind of see what's kind of developing here. So we have a Memphis, New Orleans run back. We have and we still have 5,600 left per player. Now, again, we now have to start worrying about salary a little bit. So what I want to do is now start sorting by point per dollar specifically and see what we can kind of jam in here. Okay. So point per dollar, we're looking at guys like Taylor Horton Tucker, Dennis Schroeder, Xavier Tillman. Now, that's the guy that Bobby mentioned before. And the one thing I'll notice is that Xavier Tillman is only 15% owned. Okay. Which is, I mean, that's really, really useful. And it's not like you're sacrificing too much. So, I mean, you could probably put all three of these guys in, but let's just start with him. We'll start with Tillman. Let's see. Tillman at here. And then I think these other guys that we saw were cheap enough to do so. Schroeder, shooting guard, or we can play point guard as well. Let's put him in we'll put him in a point guard because I think that we're going to want to play somebody cheaper at shooting guard. Maybe Taylor Horton Tucker. So we have 5,500 per man. I mean, look what we can do. We could probably do this. So let's say we play Dennis Schroeder. Oh, we did him. So the next guy we have on our list here, if I'm not mistaken, is Taylor Horton Tucker. But I wonder if we want to even get cuter and play Kobe White. I mean, he's cheaper. I don't know what else you can get to for him, but he's lower owned. So it's between Kobe White and Taylor Horton Tucker for shooting guard. So if we put in Taylor Horton Tucker, the more, the chalkier one, then it leaves us 5,800 at small forward, which gets us it gets us a little bit of a problem here, right? Can't quite do this at small forward. I might name Karis LeVert would be nice to get to him. So would be cool. What if we went down to Kobe White instead of Taylor Horton Tucker at lower ownership with that hair? And then we could get up to a small forward at 6,400 who could be, well, you could play Taylor Horton Tucker here as well if we want. That's what's cool about this. And this leaves 900 on the table, which is kind of not ideal. So who are we missing here that we can kind of upgrade a little bit? You can get up to Markelle Fultz instead of Schroeder. That's one thing you can do. Or I guess that's my option, right? I guess that's my option. So we're going to play Fultz instead of Schroeder. I think, right? And we're only leaving 300 on the table, and it's not bad. This is a pretty low-owned, this is a pretty low-owned lineup for this type of tournament. And then I can decide, do I want to keep Tillman at 5,900? I mean, you probably should try to max out your salary, but if it makes sense, quite honestly, I'm kind of stoked with what I have here. And this band play, and this is pretty. I'm telling you, this is pretty low owned. So I think we're going to do this. So we're going to save it like this. We didn't have to run this through SaberSim at all. We just used our sheets to hand build, and I think you have a good example of a low owned, decent lineup. Okay, that should do it. Good luck, everybody, and